How you doing? All right, guys, we're here to do a little special edition video because it's Halloween and all you freaks like scary stuff. I'm gonna do a tour of all the haunted spots in New York City. Well, not all of them, all right? Relax. I only have like 20 minutes here, so, you know, chill out. Plus, you know, tight budget here. Speaking of which, Sam, how you doing?
Doing great.
Sam is helping out today. He's a first timer, everybody, so take it easy on him, all right? And also, before we start, guys, check out the Patreon. Big help. That's how we fund these things, baby. That's how this thing's going to grow. That's how we get off of YouTube's tentacles. Get release from the tentacles. All right, I don't know what I'm talking about. You know what I mean. It's just support, I guess. Also, like and subscribe. That's a big help. That's how we, you know, bump in the analytics ahead of all the, you know, Ghostbusters Proton Pack unboxing videos. I don't know. Speaking of which, I'm in front of the New York Public Library. This is where the Ghostbusters was filmed. Speaking of ghosts, huh? Pretty cool. All right, I'm rambling. I don't know, man. There's some cool spots. It's gonna be scary. Prepared to be scared. Ooh. Let's get started. Okay, so we're here at our first spot. I'm here just casually laying against a monument, no big deal. I'm here at actually St. Mark's in the Bowery in the East Village. So a little bit of background on this neighborhood. The East Village actually used to be a huge farm owned by one guy. This guy, Peter Stuyvesant, who was actually the Director General of New Amsterdam until the British took it over in 1664. Before they took it over, he bought all this land out here, what is today the East Village. That was pretty much swampland. And when he got kicked out in 1664 and the British took over New Amsterdam and changed it to New York, he actually moved back briefly to the Netherlands, but then was like, you know what, I'm actually a New Yorker at heart. So he moved back here and lived out the rest of his days on this land. Now, this church that is located here, it's called St. Mark's in the Bowery. Bowery, Dutch word for farm. Ah, look at that. So this land was bought by Stuyvesant in the 1650s, right? All this area in the East Village. And then in this spot where this church is today, he built a chapel for his property in 1660, right? So that chapel stayed here until the 1700s when it came down. And then this building, which is one of the oldest church buildings in Manhattan, was finished in 1799, which is also the price that I paid for these jeans. Pretty cool. Anyways, this chapel's been here since, it's been modified and all that stuff, but this is where he's buried today. And they say this is where he haunts the church too. And now keep in mind, Peter Stuyvesant came to New Amsterdam in 1647 to basically whip the colony into shape. He was a soldier and he got his leg blown off in a battle in the Caribbean. So he got it replaced with a peg. He was a peg leg guy. So they say that he would come here, you know, and show up as a ghost, and people would hear the sound of his peg leg, you know, walking through the aisles or in the yard and all that stuff. If you listen really hard, you can hear it now. You hear that, Sam? He's nodding. In fact, during the Civil War, one of the sextons for the church said he saw Stuyvesant's figure hobbling around, and that figure chased him off of the property, and he never came back. I wouldn't really be too scared of a ghost with a peg leg. I mean, you just, I don't know, I guess sweep the leg. I don't know what you'd do. It's not really. So the night that the sexton was actually chased away from the church, the bells actually rang that night as well. So the next day, they say, they came to see the bell, to see what was happening, because no one was there. And they found that the rope that pulled for the bell had actually been cut, so it was too high for anyone to reach. And they looked into Stuyvesant's grave, and they saw, it was closed, by the way, sealed up. They went in, and the other piece of the rope was inside his grave, next to the grave. That's pretty nuts, huh? I guess, you know, passive-aggressive too, I guess. You just make yourself known already. You don't have to take ropes and all that stuff, but it's pretty straightforward what was going on. Now keep in mind, Stuyvesant also, it would make sense that he'd haunt this place because he was a very headstrong, very stubborn. He really wanted to do what he wanted to do, but that's why the colony was whipped into shape. It was in trouble when he got here. But anyways, that's kind of the story of St. Mark's in the Bowery. Very haunted place. Peter Stuyvesant supposedly haunts this place, one of the most famous people to ever live in New York City, in New Amsterdam. And, you know, here in the East Village. Haunted also by a new Wegmans that they just opened. And chase out all the small businesses. Sorry. All right, let's keep it focused. Ghosts. Next stop. Let's go. All right, so this is 17 Barrow Street. Very spooky, very spooky. It's a restaurant known as One If by Land, Two If by Sea. But the building itself, they say, used to be a carriage house owned by Aaron Burr, the guy who shot Alexander Hamilton. Ooh. Anyways, this building, they say, used to be located on his estate, which was called Richmond Hill. I talked about that in my Hudson Square video. You gotta watch that one, get some homework. But they say it was bought in 1804 after he shot Alexander Hamilton. He was starting losing money. It was bought by John Jacob Astor and moved here. Now, they say this building is haunted by, well, they haven't exactly narrowed it down to who exactly, but they believe Aaron Burr is one of them. So some of the things that they have said have happened is, broken plates, strange noises late at night, all those different kinds of things. There's theories that it's also Theodosia Burr. Theodosia Burr was his daughter, who was 30 years old and disappeared at sea. She was on her way back to New York on a boat called the Patriot and was never heard from again. Whoa. This is the Vice President of the United States, like a huge official in the country, and his daughter just disappeared. That'd be today. It looks like today, Jenna Bush got in a cab to go to her work at the Today Show and was never heard from again. Huh? How horrifying would that be? Now, there have been documented deaths in this building as well. One suicide of a woman, 2 older men died here. A toddler died here, I think was like 2 years old. So all these things were documented in actual newspaper articles and things. So it is possible that it's haunted by any one of those different people. So one time some employees at Two If by Land, Two If by Sea saw a woman in a ball gown. Sorry, not a woman, the actual shadow of a woman in a ball gown against one of the tables, and there was no one around, and they thought it was very strange. So they actually started to get a flashlight out to see if they could mess with the shadow, and it didn't work. Which I guess, that's the one way to get rid of ghosts, is just try to shine light on a shadow. Who are you gonna call? Someone with a flashlight, that's it. And that's what they did, it didn't work. Another thing that they've reported here in the past was cats. The sound of cats, and then looking for the cat or following the sound of the cat and not being able to find any cat anywhere. So just these, ghost cats. But the sound of cats, I guess, isn't as sketchy. I used to live in an apartment where outside of my window every night was pretty much like the cat's lover's lane. It was like feline Caligula every night. So I guess that's a little bit more questionable. As recent as 1972, one employee was hired by One If by Land, Two If by Sea, and didn't believe in ghosts. And then at night, late at night, the copier just started turning on and wouldn't turn off. It wasn't even plugged in. And he was like, what the hell is this? He quit the next day. So, take a hit on the resume to get away from those ghosts. And there have been reports of women who come in, especially, feeling tugs on their earrings when they come in to the restaurant, which I guess even in death, ghosts are looking to rip people off and make a quick buck. But yeah, it's kind of messed up when you have multiple ghosts living in the same building. But I guess in New York, rents are so high that even the ghosts got to have roommates. Go figure. But One If by Land, Two If by Sea, baby. This is one of the more haunted buildings here in Greenwich Village. So old Aaron Burr's old carriage house, pretty cool, and it was moved here. But scary Aaron Burr. Woo! All right, let's go to the next spot. All right, we at our next spot here. Ooh, this is the tale of the speakeasy ghost. I don't know, anyways, we're actually at Chumley's here. This is, I'm here on Bedford, the corner of Bedford and Barrow. Chumley's this little building was built in 1831, pretty old. The actual speakeasy there was started by a man named Leland Chumley in 1922 during a thing called Prohibition, where alcohol was illegal. You had to make these speakeasies to provide people with their alcohol. We have a country full of lushes. Come on, where are they all going to go? So this was a speakeasy, one of the thousands of speakeasies in the city. So here we go. This is actually the site of Chumley's, which was that speakeasy. So the guy, his name was Leland Chumley, died in 1935. They actually lived upstairs. He died there. Then his wife, Henrietta, took over in 1960, she died. She actually died in her seat, which was down there in the bar, where she would sit and drink Manhattans every night and play solitaire by herself there every single night. Two very healthy habits, kind of shocked she was single for the rest of her life, but she died there as well. So they say that she ended up haunting the place. In fact, there was a story of a tour group who came in and was standing inside the bar later on, which is no longer speakeasy, but a regular bar, and things just started to fly off the shelves, glasses breaking, everything right in front of the tour group. They looked to the bartender who was in, the bartender was like, "That's just Henrietta, don't worry about it." Which is, I guess, pretty cold comfort, if you're on that tour group. I imagine that tour guide didn't get very good tips on that one, but pretty cool to witness that. So there's another story where a man named Clinton Curtis came here and was playing chess with a man named Michael George. That's right, and after the chess match, Michael George killed Clinton Curtis over a disagreement. Not for nothing, he had two first names, so maybe he was mad about that, but he was also from Florida, so that might explain why he did that. But I guess chess is a pretty dangerous sport, I don't know. Nerdy game, but I don't know, you can kill someone with a protractor, I guess. So that's another thing that happened here in this building. All right, later on, there was also another owner, and his name was Scott Schlopak, and he believes that the ghosts in this building are a little more benign and a little more benevolent. In fact, his story is that he was actually at one point looking to kind of bail on everything. He had friends who were firefighters who came here a lot, and one of them died in a call in 1994, and he was saying that he was having thoughts of just getting rid of it. He didn't know who he was going to partner with or have help him out. And then just randomly, when he was having that exact thought, a big group of firefighters came in and basically offered to help and do all these things. And he's like, wow, that's kind of weird. And this is before smartphones read our thoughts. Another story along those lines is a lot of the later on, his friends were firefighters who actually ended up dying in 9/11. Yeah, that's right. 9/11 alert. Any video about New York, you got to mention 9/11 and bum everybody out. But it actually plays into this because some of the firefighters who were here one day were talking about memorials to their fallen comrades and things like that, and just by chance the jukebox played a song that was completely appropriate to that conversation. Of course, Who Let the Dogs Out? No, that's not true. Actually, it was a song, it was like an Irish, drinking song that talked about going to paradise and all those things. So these little, there's all these little coincidences along with sounds and your typical like doors opening and that kind of thing that say that here, Chumley's is haunted as well. So there's always going to be lots of theories as to why something is haunted and different ways that these hauntings kind of show themselves. Here you have broken glasses, different types of strange coincidences, but most buildings in New York have lots of crazy things that happen in the long histories. So this is a story behind Chumley's. Different people passed through here back in the day when it was a speakeasy, people like F. Scott Fitzgerald, Norman Mailer, but also terrible deaths, like the Great Chess Murder. All right, well, now I'm rambling. This is an interesting story, though. Chumley's, what'd you think? Sam, pretty cool, huh?
Checkmate.
Checkmate. Nice. All right, next spot. All right, so we're now here at my next spot. This is actually the New Amsterdam Theater. It's a theater dedicated to Disney stuff. You can see Aladdin's playing there. It was built in 1903, but importantly, this used to be home to Ziegfeld's Follies. Was one of the biggest shows in the city. It was where all the most beautiful women were hired as dancers and things. And this building today, even with Aladdin playing in there, they say is haunted. Haunted by a woman named Olive Thomas, who was the most beautiful woman in her day. Ooh. I don't know why I picked that part to be like that, but anyways, they say she haunts this place, and the story is that at 26 years old, she died by ingesting a bottle of mercury bichloride. It's poison. So it basically means that she was eating poison and someone thought that she was a... Hey, what's up, man?
Can I get a picture with you, man?
Yeah, sure, let's do it. Come on in here. Yeah, man, let's do it. Anyways, in 1920, she died by ingesting a bottle of mercury bichloride. She was on her second honeymoon in Paris with her husband, who was taking that medicine to treat his syphilis. Must have been a fun honeymoon, but she ingested it. They don't know whether it was by accident or not, but she took it, and they say that right after she ingested it, she said, "Oh my God, what have I done?" Which is actually the same reaction I have whenever I eat McDonald's chicken nuggets. But she ate it, and she ended up slipping into a coma. She lost her sight, her ability to talk, and then she ended up dying a few days later. Her husband kind of hides, doesn't really come clean of what happened. It's a whole mystery, but it captivated the entire city.
This girl is on fire.
All right, thank you for that music passing by me. I guess I'm gonna have to bleep that music out so I don't get copyright stricken. Anyways, she dies and Jack Pickford is her husband, and he is the brother of the most famous silent film star at the time, Mary Pickford, which is pretty crazy. So they were both celebrities, and they were both, it's a big couple, and they were known for partying and everything. In fact, one of the articles written after said that they used to have cocaine orgies and all these crazy things. That's pretty wild. So they were like, you know, Pam and Tommy Lee without the sex tape, I guess, or just like a sex silent film or something, whatever. So she died at 26 years old, which is young, man. That's like if I died today, you know, because I'm young. But they say that she haunts this place. All right, Sam, you don't have to. I'm not 26, I'm 27. All right, anyway, they say that she haunts this place. Now, she wore a white dress with silver trim. That's the dress that she died in, they say. And she's been seen here wearing that same dress. So what's happened is people have claimed to have seen her on stage here and then gliding out here to 42nd Street, which, you know, seeing a ghost is probably not even in the top 5 creepiest things you'll see on 42nd Street, but still, they'd say she glided through here. Another thing that people have claimed to have seen is there was actually a security guard when this was being renovated for the Disney company that took over this theater in the 1990s. A security guard who was hired to walk through and take care of it at night said he saw a woman walking on stage dressed in green with a headdress, kind of like the Follies women used to wear, and that she glided all the way over and out the back entrance through the wall after he yelled to kind of get her attention. They say she blew a kiss and then went through the wall. That's exactly what you want to see, you know. I guess whenever you try to pick up a woman, you want to see her just glide through the wall. But that's what would happen. And it's also said that she tends to appeal more to men. She appears more to men because of the attention that she gets from men rather than women. So that security guard actually was so scared that he resigned the very next day. Good luck finding a new job after telling people why you left your previous job. After that one, have to go explain to people that you left because someone glided through the walls. But, you know, I guess people have had to explain worse things. And interestingly enough, she also has been known to, at the time, was also appearing to construction workers and saying things like, "Hi, fella," and winking at them and things like that. And look, I guess depends how lonely you are, but, you know, it might be nice to get a wink and a "hi, fella" from someone every now and then, even if they are, you know, damned to eternity. One of the more recent events that happened here was a bunch of the Disney staffers were sitting around discussing the movie The Artist. They say this was a silent film that came out just a handful of years ago, and they were saying that Mary Pickford used to be the most famous silent film star back in the day, and they talked about Olive Thomas, and at one point they said, "I wonder what Olive Thomas would think of the movie The Artist." And as soon as they said that, this is true, a bunch of DVDs that were stacked up just were thrown into the wall, went straight into the wall. So if you want a ghost to appear, just start talking about overrated movies, I guess, you know. So keep in mind that Olive Thomas, most beautiful woman in her day, she actually had 2 different costumes that they've seen her ghost in. One, the white dress and silver trim that she was buried in, and also the green dress with the headpiece that she was wearing for the Follies that she used to act in. So leave it to a New York ghost to be a diva about showing up in costume changes and whatnot. But this was also where remember, Florence Ziegfeld's Follies was actually located. They actually showed them here. And, you know, she was said to have an affair with him before she married Jack Pickford. So, you know, he was, by the way, he was like the Hugh Hefner back then. He had this stable of, like, beautiful women. He had affairs with lots of them and was kind of like a creep, I guess. But, you know, and that was all in this building now. They say it's still haunted by Olive Thomas. They actually have a picture of her when you walk into the theater. Pretty cool. Anyways, you know, who knows? Today you might actually be walking around Times Square and among the Elmos and, you know, at Spider-Man, maybe one day you'll see a ghost too, and you go to take a picture with it, and all the Elmos and Spider-Man will crowd up behind you. So who knows? So that was it, the tale of the Follies showgirl who haunts the theater. Woo! Okay, let's get the hell out of here before I get run over and have to come back and haunt this hellhole. Oh, look at that. As if the creepy haunting stories weren't enough, you caught me staring at that photo shoot. We made it to the end. Wow, those are some scary tales, huh, Sam?
Terrifying.
Yeah, well, guys, remember, in a city with so much history and turnover, different people coming in and coming out at any given moment, you have all these different stories that pass through every single building, every crack of the sidewalk. So, you know, if you live here, your apartment could have seen some crazy stuff. Or if you're visiting, you know, your Airbnb could be haunted by German tourists of 1989. Ooh. I don't know. Anyways, guys, if you like the video, check out the Patreon, please. That's how we fund these things. That's how this is going to grow. You know, that's how I keep making stuff that I want to make. And also, you know, like and subscribe. Bump us in the analytics, baby. Ahead of the, you know, jet skiing iguanas or whatever people do with their, you know, to boost those numbers. Anyways, Sam, what'd you think, man? This is your first time. How do you feel?
Feels good.
I thought you did a great job.
I feel a little scared.
Yeah, you should feel scared. That was what this was supposed to do. But you did great.
Thank you.
You did great. I don't know what to tell you guys other than I hope you guys aren't too scared. Huh? Go out there and trick or treat for old Tom. Save me a Kit Kat. Huh? Not candy corn. Throw that in the garbage. All right. See y'all later. Sick.